Have you ever felt like you don't belong in a particular place, but you just had to hang in there and try to fit in, but then it got really frustrating? Well, that was me in 100 level, playing the guitar in a church where guitars were considered sinful and worldly. This is episode 1 of Stories from My Former Life. First of all, I was born and brought up in Deeper Life Bible Church, and I am deeply grateful that I grew up there because it set the right foundation for my faith and beliefs today. But then there was just one problem, or several problems, but this one was the biggest at the time. So the church had prohibited the guitar from choir ministrations for reasons best known to the person in charge at the time. But then I loved alternative rock, and I did just understand why the guitar would not be played. Now, to give you more context, my parents were choristers in the church. My father played the saxophone and the trombone. My mom played the violin, and that automatically made me a chorister. And then I had to play an instrument in the orchestra, and because my mom already played the violin, it just felt correct to play the violin too. But then I found the violin very boring. I mean, it's not a boring instrument, trust me, but it's just my personal preference. But I still have memories of holding the violin like a guitar because it was the closest thing to a guitar at the time. I thought it was just a fantasy, but then it grew worse when I fell in love with Asha. In fact, at the point in my life, people thought I looked like her. I was obsessed with the guitar, but my father was not having it. In fact, one time I borrowed my neighbor's guitar and my dad threatened to break it, if not for the swift intervention of my mother. So I just looked forward to getting admission into the university so I could play my thing without any issues. But then I had no idea that my life was about to get even more dramatic. So I got into 100 level. I came with my guitar. I knew how to play at the time. And then when I got into the hostel, it didn't take so much time. I got a little popular and people were like, "Ooh, a lady playing the guitar," and I started getting invitations to hang out. I played in the school hostel, and all of that stuff. But before I knew what was going on, the pastors in my church campus fellowship who knew my father called my daddy. They said, "Pastor, your daughter is playing the guitar. She wants to leave the church. She's playing the guitar with boys in her hostel in the night." And my dad was like, "Huh? I'm just going to withdraw you from school before you tarnish our family image." And it took a lot of begging, soliciting, and all of that for my father to let me come back to school after the holidays. And then because of that, I just hated going to church. I didn't agree to a lot of things that he did, and then I just played by the rules, just followed through, just so I could survive. Because if my daddy stopped paying my school fees, I would be a dropout. I just knew that as long as I was under my father's authority, I had to play by his rules. And then when I got out of school and could stand on my own, I had the freedom to go rogue. Anyway, let me know in the comment section, have you been in that kind of situation before, and how did you handle it? Anyway, I'll see you in my next video.